to Changing the Sales Game on webtalkradio.com. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. You know that my guests and I are super excited that you're here this week. So here's the deal. As you hear, or as you go through your career, that word changing the sales game, right? That word sales, I am on a mission to change that word sales from that icky kind of sleazy feeling to something that's more about love, care, and respect. So to help you on your journey of changing your sales game, in the show notes, you'll find my link for my communication style assessment, my gift to you. Here's the deal. Take the assessment really quick, easy peasy. You'll get 2 reports. First report just spotlights your natural communication superpowers. Important to understand how your message just naturally lasts. Flip side, your lowest score is your blind spot. To me, read that report with real care, because when we're communicating with people 180 degrees different than us, how is your message landing? I would want to know that. So again, take the link in the show notes, my gift to you, and I hope it helps you change your sales game with a little bit more ease and grace. So I chose my quote today to set the stage for my guest and my conversation. And the gentleman's name is Matt Golart. And Matt says, social media is about the people, not about your business. Provide for the people, and the people will provide for you. So here's the deal, right? Over the past 4 decades, sales really hasn't changed much. And yet it has pretty much changed significantly because of social media platforms and this whole digital outreach that we have. The good news is it really allows us to connect with our clients a lot easier than when I started 4 decades ago. And LinkedIn, I have found, is one of the best, especially for my work, for what I do, to navigate. Here's the situation, though. What is that algorithm on the back end that we feel like we're fighting through the algorithm and then the noise in the marketplace? It becomes really challenging. So how do we gain more traction and reach our ideal client? Well, I'm glad you asked. And of course, I have an expert for you. His name is Darren Gibb. Now, Darren has been a teacher for over a decade and now teaches coaches and executive coaches to create better content that attracts, repels, important word here, and converts. He excels at conversations, teaching a nuance of DM strategy that helps people navigate the tricky waters of DMs to book more calls and ultimately close more prospects into new clients. So Darren, I'm excited to have you on the show. And this is one of my favorite topics to talk about, the whole marketing using the digital, but keeping the human component. I think that's really critical.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, my friend. Lovely to be here. Yeah, it is critical. I mean, we're going to explore this quite a bit, but first off, I mean, I'd say 90% of social selling that we see and what's taught is just plain wrong. And you're right. Sales hasn't sales and marketing haven't really changed in the last 80 years. The way in which we convey them might well have, but the actual true roots of them, which is embedded ultimately in psychology, it's not changed at all. Human beings are still human beings. I don't really give a shit if it's through Facebook, Instagram, or through the newspaper, or whether it's cold calling, door to door, whatever it is. The basic triggers of psychology remain the same. And it's something that I feel that people get so waylaid by when it comes to social selling, because there is so much noise out there, and because there are so many amazing ways. Facebook ads are incredible because, my God, they know you better than you know yourself. They literally know, literally to the point that when it's a women's in her period, boom, there's going to be certain types of content put towards that. A relationship's just broken up. Boom, I see it all the time with friends and anecdotally. Boom, getting caught of dating websites or dating apps and things like that. So it's, as for the consumer, it's changed massively, but for the seller, not much has changed. But the noise surrounding it, I think, is deafening, whereas before it wasn't. It was more nuanced.
Yeah. Well, and I remember, gosh, years ago, right? You networked live all the time. And by going to these networking, seeing the people over and over, and it was more communal, right? It wasn't so global. And then you got to know people got to know you, you got invited to speak. It was very organic, right? That marketing, you were branding yourself, the psychology, like you're saying, we were always branding ourselves. Now, though, especially after COVID, the technology has advanced or progressed so quickly that now we're in this global community, but now there's all this global noise that we're fighting against. So, and the other thing too is, and I know you're the expert really on LinkedIn and that social selling component, and I see it all the time. People, they send you an email, hey, I saw your bio, and we have a lot in common, and we should talk because I'm an HR, blah, 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 and they vomit what they do, and I think, do not accept. And if they are in my network where I accept, I think their first message was good, and then they vomit at me with all of what they do and how they're going to help me, they don't know the first thing about me. I especially laugh, Darren, when I get oh, I can help you sell more. I respond. That's when I respond, and I go, did you even read my bio? Like 4 decades, I could probably teach you, pal. So again,
Well,
it's all this noise, but it's garbage too that we're getting thrown at.
Well, that's it. So that's the classic pitch slap. Hey, yes, you've got so much in
Pitch slap.
common. First message, I see you really suck. Your business is going to collapse unless we have a 20-minute discovery call where I'll change everything. Absolute bullshit. Call it as it is. We know this. Now, the problem we now have, and we're going to see it more in 2025, especially as ChatGPT's just got O1 being released just yesterday, it's
Yeah.
far more better at picking up those sequences. Now, LinkedIn really does not like any sort of scraping. It's updating its terms and conditions to make sure you cannot do it and it's a bannable offense.
Ooh.
However, people will always get through it. But this is what it are. They're called Dripify as a website. I probably shouldn't even be publicizing it. You will get banned. I've seen too many people get banned because of it. But it just sends out hundreds of these messages at 32-minute intervals. And if you get a response, it's just like email marketing. It triggers this message. If not, it'll try again in 2 days and all this nonsense. So this is what we're saying. But here, that's why people suck, is because they're doing it the lazy way, relying on
Yeah.
automation that, look, 2 years' time, it's there. I'm not going to deny it. It's not. Facebook ads 15 years ago were nowhere near as effective as they are today, right, Connie? So
Yeah,
yes,
that's right.
that technology does evolve. But I think that ultimately it will be for those who are able and those who have scaled and those who are able to pay. Your average coach, executive coach who's maybe making that 10K a month isn't going to have the amount of money to really be scaling it to the extent that they would need to or want to. So I think that's where I think it comes from. But you're right. For the majority of users, it doesn't matter how damn good the automation is. If it's not set up in an authentic way to react and to respond, just like humans have always communicated, it's not going to get anywhere. And I think that to this day and for the foreseeable future, until we hit artificial general intelligence, AGI, maybe 2 or 3 years' time, when it's essentially the AI that thinks like a human,
Yeah.
that's still going to be a problem. When we hit there, we do have a problem on our hands when it comes to sales and lead generation. It does,
Yeah.
of course. But until then, for 99% of people, automation isn't the way forward because it's just not good enough, especially not on LinkedIn.
And it's funny, I taught a business development class this week for one of my clients. And the first thing I say out of the gate, and I'm like, write this down. And they all, listen real intently. And I say, 90% of business development is preparation. And you see them look at me and their jaws drop. I go, you heard me. 90% of business development is really strategic. So then when you go live, whether we're sending emails out, we're doing LinkedIn posts, we're going to a live networking event, don't care. All of the prep work is what's going to make a difference. And I know you believe that too, because it's not about, again, vomiting crap on LinkedIn or emails or whatever it is, right? It's the curation of good stuff. And that takes time to create. We can't just say, oh, ChatGPT will create it. I remember when ChatGPT came out a couple of years ago, we were having dinner, my kids, because it was still COVID. And Darren, I said to my boys, so what do you think of this Chat GPT? They almost fell off their chairs. They go, how do you know about that? Right? Old mom sitting at the end of the table. And I said, well, I have to stay relevant. What do you think? They said, well, people are publishing books on and I was like, wait, what? And they're going, yeah, they're writing kids books. And I within an hour, I thought, well, they're crap. They have to be my immediate instinct, right? Is they have to be crap. And I think that there's still a lot of crap out there because we're relying on the automation instead of understanding the psychology and then we're still dealing with freaking humans right at the end of the day. How do humans really want to be connected with? And it's got to be about building that relationship. So here's my next question, Darren. What do you think, or what do you see changing now that ChatGPT, like you said, they just came out with their newest version? What do you see happening to the social selling? What is it going to look like in 2025? What's your prediction?
Well, with regards to AI, bit more automation, but generally still pretty shitty. Look, most people, look, everyone's got access to a fucking paintbrush. It doesn't make them Picasso. And this is a thing, right? People, just because they've got access to Chat GPT doesn't mean they know how to use it correctly. I do have a side business in the AI world. I spent hundreds of hours understanding large language models, how to use AI, how to prompt it correctly, how to structure prompts. I built content generation bots that are, they're pretty indistinguishable to the person's own writing because it's trained on their writing. Now, I'm beginning to see others beginning to do that as well. I love social selling, so that's my business. But the
Sure.
reason I say that is that I don't think we're going to see huge advancements from your average person because the average person won't invest the time, the effort, and the money to learning these sorts of things. So I think that what we'll see in social selling, we'll see an increasing amount of poor quality AI generated content. Yes,
Yeah.
we'll continue to see that. I think we'll probably continue to see a lot of AI generated comments, which are so easy to spot. If you don't know how to spot a comment, quite simply, it agrees with you for two sentences, asks a question, and the two sentences are rephrased, asks a question and uses an emoji. That's what AI content is. Once you know how to spot them, they're super easy to see. I think that technology will get better as well, don't get me wrong, because there's clearly a demand for it. But I think we will continue to see this falsification of bullshit, this falsification of AI comments, this falsification of likes through engagement pods. That's what I see being a big problem at the moment. I know more influencers, Connie, who have 100,000 followers and are flat broke than I do who are actually making any sort of money on LinkedIn. It's this
Oh,
engagement pods, where it inflates their numbers and makes them look super good. Again, you can do that and have 100,000 followers and have 1,000 likes, Connie, but if you don't know how to create good content that resonates with your audience, that has a top of funnel, which is more broad, easily accessible, middle of funnel, which directly actually speaks to a problem, and bottom of funnel, which actually makes some sort of offer or call to action. If you don't know how to do that, you've got a problem. Furthermore, everyone talks about pain points. You and I are salespeople. I've got a background in sales as well before doing all this LinkedIn marketing. Only 3% of people reading your content, 3%, write it down at home, please, folks, if you don't know this. 3% of people reading your content are problem aware and actively seeking a solution. 3%. Only a fraction,
3%.
3%. Sing it at the back. 7% are problem aware. Seven. That means 90% of people that you're communicating with online through your content are not problem aware. Therefore, I don't give a shit what the gurus say. Oh, talk about pain points. Sure, only 10% are going to resonate with that. So instead, Connie, and as we do in sales, let's talk about symptoms. The pain point is not getting quality conversions. That's what the
Yeah.
pain point is. The symptom of that is sitting all day in the DMs and not knowing what to say. Most people won't know the problem, but they will know the symptom. I could
That's
have a
right.
horrific cough. All I think is a horrific cough. I don't know it's bronchitis. That's the problem. But the symptom is the rattling in the chest. Sorry, I've gone way off. I do apologize. I've gone very much off there. But anyway, LinkedIn, what do I see 2025? More of the same. I see videos losing reach. At the moment, vertical
Oh,
videos are really hot because LinkedIn have launched the mobile video feed, TikTok-esque. So they are piling amount of reach into that. So it's the easiest to get in front of lots of people. As a result, though, we're seeing a lot of really poor crap that's been written by ChatGPT. People who really don't want to be in front of the camera, but feel they
yeah.
have to, right? So I
Yeah.
think there'll be a less of reach in that. Why? Because I've been on this platform and mastered this platform for 5 years every day. I'm a massive nerd. I know how this works. Video reach will go down again. So if you're sitting at home and you're putting all your time and money into video, my brother, my sister, please, you need to think long term. I don't really like watching videos, so I'm not going to watch your video. Write a bit of text plus image or even text only content, you'll have me. So keep your content varied. So I see that. I see AI comments, AI content continuing, getting a bit better because people learn how to slightly refine it. I see video not being as popular as possible. And I see, honestly, the need for DMs being more important than ever, Connie. Not just having a chat, getting caught in the friend zone, being everybody's best friend, but
Yeah.
nobody's expert. So
Yeah.
actually having a strategic way to navigate the DMs, get people booked onto calls. That's what I see as being a huge thing in LinkedIn 2025. Everyone's going to have to learn. And if they don't, they're going to just get swamped under. We see the network just growing year on year on year on year. That's only going to continue to explode. Therefore, it does get tougher. But no more than 8% of the 1.1 billion users actively post regularly. Regular, more than once a week, is about 1.8%. So if you get on LinkedIn in 2025 and you post 3-4 times a week, you're in the top percentile
It's
of
crazy.
LinkedIn users. Still not too late, Connie.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's interesting. I remember I had met someone they introduced them to me, and they were quote unquote LinkedIn experts where they could get views, a lot of views. And so, okay, so he says, yeah, I could get you 100,000 views or whatever. I said, okay, that's cool. I like the number. What's the result of that? Couldn't answer me. So I said, 100,000, just tell me how many appointments. And again, you don't know my business, just on average, right? Or revenue on the back end. What are some numbers that people did not have? And he goes, well, you don't understand. And I'm thinking, no, dude, you don't understand. These strategies are great. And I do believe we have to test different things, right, to see what works. And then because your first shot out of the gate, by the way, is not going to work, right? So we have to reiterate, we have to try different things, we have to test the market. So I get all that, but then what are the results on the back end? So if I'm testing and testing and testing and getting 100,000 views, a million views, and it's not generating any revenue, the strategy's bad. I don't care how many views I get, right? So it's the money in the bank that matters. And again, I'm not chasing the money, everybody. That's not what I'm saying. But whatever strategy has to create results. And in our case, if we're in business, we have to make money or you're going to go out of business pretty darn quickly, right?
Connie, whose views are you getting? Is it a bot? I don't know. I don't want a bot. What? I don't want that to be clocked up. Is it
That's right.
somebody who's working in basically a LinkedIn farm? It's
That's
rows
right.
of computers, and that's their jobs in poorer countries for 18 hours a day, just looking at things to get the views up. Is that what it is? Look, we are subconsciously told to believe, or believe rather than told to believe, that big numbers equal better. We just do. Again, think about sales and money. We just
Right.
do. That's why a Rolls Royce charging, I don't know, $100,000 versus I really don't know what I'm talking about here. A Fiat, which is, I don't know, $20,000. Well, it's quite clear which one's better. They did it get you from A to B. Yeah.
That's right.
Why do
What's your objective?
everyone says they're broke, Connie, right? Why do poor people have iPhones? I'm sorry, I'm going to put that question out there. Why do poor people say I've got no money and yet they'll buy the latest iPhone? It's because of the value afforded to it by them. That number becomes secondary because it's a
Yeah.
status symbol. It's how they feel. It's feeling secure. Their data's secure. It's ease of use. It's all these things that make that money there. So money and numbers are really secondary, but we do put the more value on the higher it is. And that's why I feel that we do look at, I can see so many influencers to think, why have you got so many views? Why is your content? It just seems very weak. It doesn't really do anything for me. And again, that then comes down to as well about having really fluffy, top of funnel content that everyone can agree with. Just believe
Yeah.
in yourself.
Yeah.
Shoot for the moon, and even if you fail, you'll land amongst the stars. Well, we've heard this
Absolutely.
shit before. Like it means
Yeah.
nothing. It's empty. It's vacuous.
Yeah. It's interesting because the chat GPT, and I had this conversation with another colleague, and I see the value. Listen, I use it too. Like my newsletter, I have 4 tips. So I just put a topic in chat GPT, let it spit out whatever, and I'll pick a couple of words. I go, oh, all right, yeah, that's what I'll focus on. And then I write my 4 tips, but they're my 4 tips in my
Yeah.
words. If you're just starting out, ChatGPT is a good resource for information to get you grounded, right? It'll rise you up. if you're an expert like you and I, where we've been doing this, we've spent the money, we've grown the skill, right? We've become expert level. ChatGPT pulls you down because of the level of, excuse me, the writing just isn't good. So again, be careful how you use this automation. Not right. We're not saying throw the baby out with the bathwater, but use it with a strategy behind it. What do you see as some of the big misconceptions and myths people have about the social selling, since that's kind of your jam when you're coaching?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think one of the some of the myths to see is that the old adage, just be consistent, as if that's some sort of magic pill. Well, if you're consistently shit, you're just consistently shit. I mean, let's just be honest here. So I think that this idea of just posting and you're going to get inbound leads, it's just nonsense. This idea of just being consistent when posting is nonsense. This idea, you just need to leave a couple of hundred comments every day and suddenly you have clients. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. It's nonsense. It's not to say, Connie, it's not a valid tactic. It's not a strategy, it's a tactic. As part of a strategy, it can be used. So I say to my clients, I say, look, instead of doing, be consistent, boom, 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 strategy wins it every time. So
Yeah.
do 15, 15, 15. 15 comments a day on the right people's posts. 15 new connections a day with the right people. A combination of influencers and prospects, by the way. Don't be just connecting with prospects. You need distributors, influencers, even 10,000 followers to be liking your content, commenting, and then their supporters see that they've commented on your content. Therefore, the positioning instantly goes up. You're positioned with their favorite micro influencer, big influencer, whatever. So 15 comments a day, 15 new connections a day, 15 DMs a day. That's all LinkedIn. That's all it is. You want to make 100K this year? That's all you need. It's that simple, I promise you. Because that compounds to 75 a week, Connie, if you're doing it Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Connie, that's 300 a month. My sister, are you not telling me if you have 300 conversations, you can't book 15, 20 calls? Could you not pull off 5 new clients a week? Sorry, 5 new clients a month? If you've got a basic offering at 2K a month and you're actually 2K a client, you're able to get 5 of them per month. It's 120K a year. There you go. I've
Yeah.
just broken it down for you on LinkedIn. All you need to do to make 120K a year. It's simple. And that's not including obviously inbounds and things like that that come with it. That's how you make money on LinkedIn. So the myth is just be consistent. No, have a strategy. I've talked about it before. Top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel content. Talk to symptoms, not pain points. Have a fucking voice. I swear and drop F-bombs. I'm really sorry for someone listening to the show right now and they don't like the way I speak. That's cool. See if that's enough of a problem not to work with me. Well, we're never going to fucking work in the first place, and that's okay. That's no problem. So you said it at the beginning, it's about attract and repel. I
Yeah,
hope to
that's right.
never offend people, but I make it easy for them to know if we're a good fit to work with
That's
me.
right.
Because if I'm sitting with you, Connie, and you're my client and you're paying me good money to work with me, I will put my arm around you and give you all the love you need when you need it. But if you're not putting the work in, I will give you a kick up the ass, metaphorically, obviously, of course, because that's typically what people need. Now, there's different levels of kicks up the ass, of course, but I'm always going to be honest. I'm never going to rub your tummy and just go, oh, it's okay. I know you tried hard this week. How many DMs have you sent out this week? This week? Oh, just 5. You can't complain to me that you've got no calls booked. Off we go. See you next week. I'm not seeing you again until you've got one booked. Do you know what I mean? And it's just that. So the myths that just commenting, just being consistent, just believing in yourself. Everyone can believe in themselves, yet very few actually make it. There needs to be real strategy behind this, real ideas and real progress.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I started, the rule of thumb, right? I started in the financial service, doing sales in the financial service industry. Rule of thumb, you needed 15 appointments a week. Some would fall off, right? And then, but we had so now you have to back into how do you get those 15 appointments? You had to make 300 phone calls. you'd get the 15 appointments. Of those 15 appointments, some would fall off, hopefully reschedule for the next week, right? So you had a little bit of a funnel going. But so let's say you met with 10 people that they didn't cancel. Of those 10, you were hopeful to make one sale, right? So, and that what you make those four sales, that could have been thousands of dollars, right? A month in commission just with four sales. So, but that the number was 15 a week. If you didn't have your 15 appointments, you weren't going to meet your goals, your whatever your personal goals as well as the business goals, what we were expected within the organization. It's the same thing you're saying. 15, you do 15 outreach, 15 DMs, and 15, what was the other one? There was 15,
15
15
comments,
and
15 comments,
comments, right?
15 connections, 15 DMs. Yep.
Right. And here's the other thing, when you do comments, and I would like you to comment on this, Darren, but when you comment, don't just put great post. It's garbage. That means you're not adding value, right? So let's talk about the commenting, because that's easy. Like, I read things and I think, oh my God, I love point number 4. And I'll respond to the person saying, that was a brilliant article, but number 4, holy smokes, blew my mind. I use it, and then I'll put a comment of like, I use it this way in my business. I'm glad other people think the same way as me. LOL, something like that. So my
Yep.
personality comes through, but I comment on the meat of what they wrote. Comments now on commenting.
So, all right. But are you a fan or are you a peer of this person's post that you just put that comment on?
Could be either. Could be either.
Could be either. I want you to not just be a fan. I want you to be not even be a peer. I want you to be on level with this person or even a little bit up. And this is what
Oh,
people do. We tend to fanboy and fangirl stuff unintentionally. And psychologically, in the eyes of the audience, this has an adverse effect. Actually, influencers get tired of being told they're brilliant, love it. I grow. This is great. I do this as well. I do this as well. Doesn't show you to be the expert I want, Connie. So I would be coaching you to
ah,
say, I'd be coaching you to, and again, I'm talking down. This is what I coach. I'm talking down to exclamation marks and emoji level. I mean, I go granular. So I wouldn't be saying this is a really great post. Exclamation mark. No, it's too much. Wow. I would take it down a notch. I'd say, this is a really interesting post. Thanks for putting it together. I really like what you said about point 4, and I would then expand upon it a little bit. So I really like what you said about point 4. In my business, I tend to view it this way. I might also add, or have you also considered, and add an
ah,
extra bit here, add a slight different reframe. Now, times you can
oh,
you can disagree, which is fine, but add a reframe on it as said. What are your thoughts on this one? So you're not, as a question, always finishing with an open question for them to open
mm,
up a conversation.
yeah,
Everybody knows in LinkedIn in the comments, the algorithm wants to see you having a conversation. Even better if you can tag a couple of people into that conversation and now they're commenting. It really helps the original poster's bit of content to go well in the algorithm. You're building a conversation around you, but you are the expert here. The original poster is your peer at this level, but they're going, holy Christ, that's a really good point. What Connie just said, yeah. And because you've used that open-ended question, would love to hear your thoughts on this, or would love to get your take on this. You're bringing them back into the conversation. You're not saying, no, dickhead, you missed that. What about this? You're actually saying, great point, loved it. I do this, but slightly differently. Another way to look about it is this. What are your thoughts on this? You're
I
bringing them
love
back in
it.
the conversation. So now you're really memorable and you're not just blending into the crowd saying, oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah, brilliant. I do this. Good to see it's not just me. You're actually going, yeah, I do this. I do it a bit differently, but here's another way to do it. What do you think? And now you become more memorable in their mind. And the true beauty of this, especially if you get in the first 10 to 15 minutes of them posting, people, because the influencer's gone, well, the influencer's online. We know they're going to be interacting with the comments because you need to in that first hour of LinkedIn. It's vital within the first hour of
Right.
posting. You're getting back to every comment. Also, obviously, acknowledge what they said, then ask a question. So acknowledge, question, always an open question, never a closed question. Yes, no doesn't get responses on a question that's going to open. Now, because they're going to be online, you're going to be top of mind for them, but not just that, because they've gone, well, Connie, that's really interesting. Actually, boom, 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 and they've seen your conversation. Their fans are now going to start liking your content, your
Yeah.
comment, which is great. What's even greater is they go, who the hell's Connie Whitman? Hmm. and they'll click on you. And that's how you see your profile views going up really
Yeah.
quickly. Really
Yeah.
nice organic way to get more followers without doing anything. So think of it as a mini post. You're not just agreeing, you're adding, and then you're saying, but how about this as well? What do you think? And it just gets that conversation. So that's basic commenting 101 strategy.
I love it. And isn't that funny? I have never, I might have added randomly, right? That point of I use this way, right? I maybe have done that. I have not done that consistently. So wow, mind blow, right? Mic drop, so to speak. That you seriously, Darren, that to me is brilliant. Comments that within the hour is the important, right? Because it helps their numbers, certainly. Comment, give the meat, right? What you liked about it, but then reframe it, saying, I use it this way, right, in your business, and tweak it a little bit and say, what do you think of that strategy? Or right, how does that land for you? And then
Yeah.
the other thing I love is because I do like you read other people's comments as well when you read a post that resonates with you, right? You'll read other like, oh, I wonder what their take is. Now they're
Yes.
seeing your post thinking, wait a minute, I never thought about it like that. And now you have somebody looking you up and it becomes this very organic thing. Now here's the thing. You're saying do 15 DMs, right? 15 posts, whatever, right? That 15, 15, 15 combination. That isn't that heavy of a lift. What are you talking about? Maybe an hour a day on LinkedIn to do that, your own personal stuff. And then do you recommend maybe 3 times a day checking into LinkedIn for those commenting other people? What's the the time
Great
allotment?
question. Great
Yeah,
question. So the cadence I would say here, Connie,
cadence,
is
good
I
word.
want to give maybe 30 minutes to warm up. So see your 15 comments, get them done before you post, especially if you know that. So it's really good to know who posts around the same time as you.
Oh, good
If
idea.
you don't know, just freaking ask them. Hey, Connie, really enjoy your content. Just out of interest, what time is it you usually post every day? Perfect. That's my time. So try to get them. You have an idea anyway, but try to get roughly when you post. Being consistent when you post is really important. Try to be posting the same within the same hour every day, but it's important.
Oh, okay.
It is. I notice it. If I post at 11 a.m. between 11 and 1, 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Central European time, I get Europe getting onto my content. It keeps it going. Oh, here's another one. You want to repost without thoughts, brothers and sisters. An instant repost 6 to 8 hours after posting can give you up to a 25% boost in reach. Oh, share
Like,
that one very quietly to your competitors. It's a nice one, so it is. So repost without thoughts. It's called an instant repost. Don't add any thoughts on. If you do, you don't get the reach, which is incredible. But that's why you see people reposting their own content. And that, again,
okay.
for me, if I post at 11 a.m. my time in Europe, that equates to 5, 6 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah,
Let's just for the argument of it, yeah, it is. It's 5 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, and 4 a.m. and 2 a.m. Pacific. People in the States are not going to see it. So then if I just repost that at 5, 6 p.m., boom, now it's hitting you guys 11 Eastern,
brilliant.
10 Central, 8 Pacific time. So just giving you another chance to see it. And typically it's not the same people who have seen it before. Anyway, I've gone off on that. Anyway, so 30 minutes before, try to get your 15 comments in if you can, okay? Then you hit post. Now, during that first hour, so I would try to get it together at least for an hour and a half, this one. For that first hour after you hit post, you want to be continuing to comment on people who are online because the law of reciprocation suggests they're going to be far more likely to comment back on your content because you've
Yeah,
just done it to them, right? So get it in there. Then it comes down to your DMs. Get the 15 DMs, get the 15 connections going. Every single comment you get notified about, get in on your own comment, on your own post, get in as quickly as possible. It's really
yeah.
important. So get in. Respond to them. Again, acknowledge, respond with an open question, try to get a thread. What's really exciting about this iteration of the algorithm, Connie, is that tagging is not punished if they don't get back to you. It used to be if they don't respond to you, it would really suck the reach. It's not happening. So tag 4 to 5 people. Here's another tip I love sharing. Tag 4 to 5 people. Within that, I would have a prospect. Maybe if a conversation's going a little bit flojo, as we say in Spanish, a little bit dead, a little bit wet, you can go that one. Somebody that you just know is going to show up. I'd tag you, so I would, Connie, I just know you'll show up for me. It's as good as that. So a friend, one or two friends that you know. Even better if they're big influencers. That's where you should be making friends with big influencers because they'll bring it
Yeah.
in. I've got Richard Moore, who's about to hit 100,000. I've got Richard van der Blom, who's got 210,000. Those are the big hitters. Charlotte Lloyd has got almost 60,000. When they come on early, I see a difference in my post and how it performs. I've only got 16,500. Quite deliberately, but maybe we'll talk about that later on. But yeah, so be tagging them. Prospect, so a prospect, a friend, and an influencer if you can. You can also have somebody if they've gone dead, if they've gone a bit dry as well. But 3 to 4 people, get them tagged in, and
Right.
don't if you worry they're not going to respond, simply just say to them, send a message. Hey Connie, just posted this post about X. I know my audience would love to hear your thoughts on Y. Would that be okay with you? That way you're not being thirsty for the comment. You're saying my audience would. So we're stroking their ego and they're more than likely to come and jump on. So that's how you can get a multi-threaded conversation happening within the conversation. I don't remember the question. Sorry, Connie, I'm such a nerd.
No, you're so cute. Here's the thing, the bottom line, you got to have a strategy and you got to figure out what that template, right? I'm going to say template of time, right? What that looks like, how much. So you got to get granular. It's all about, here's the thing, it's all about the numbers, but it's also about skill, right? That's another piece of it. So we have to understand the numbers, those 15, 15, 15. Then you have to get in the comments. What is the strategy now of the comments? We have to do the 3, respond with the meat, reframe it, ask a question, right? Do the friends, tag the friend. All of this is strategic in that allotment of time. We're not saying sit at your computer and be on LinkedIn all day, because then you're never going to make any money, because you got to actually talk to people, teach people, whatever your business is. My friend, we are out of time. We went a little over, but I do want to, I know it's dude, it goes so fast. I can't even, right? It's just insane. But guys, here's the deal. I am in love with Darren. He's my buddy. He's in Spain, but you're originally from Scotland, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yes, that's what that lovely accent is, ladies. So go to his website. It's darrengibb.com. I will put it in the show notes. Email him if you have a specific question, if you're struggling with something on LinkedIn, or you're doing what Darren just said, and you're like, I am getting like, not getting anything on the back end. Email him, darren@darrengibb.com. Again, all of that'll be in the show notes. I will put his LinkedIn link in the show notes. I would definitely learn from the teacher. So follow him, start to comment, practice all these things, because he is a safe space, right? Because this is what he teaches. So get on LinkedIn with him, try your strategies out as well. And when you go to Darren's website, there's you could subscribe to his newsletter, and he gives 100 million different things that you can play with, different strategies that you can actually use. So connect with him at whatever works for you. But I highly recommend connecting with my friend. He's brilliant. He knows what he's doing. And at the end of the day, if we have really clear, dynamic, grounded strategies that are proven strategies, rinse and repeat, then we could get results on the back end. Darren, my friend, thank you so much for being on. I really enjoy our time together. Our energy, I think people are like, okay, now I need to take a Valium after these two.
Crack out the valleys, folks.
But you're a joy to hang out with. I truly enjoy our time together. Thank you so much for sharing your zone of genius with everybody.
Thank you so much, Connie. Listen, thank you so much for having me on, my friend. Genuinely, it's been an absolute blast. I love it when the energies match. And yeah, could just talk for ages about this. So look, thank you so much. Much appreciated. We'll have to do it again sometime if you like.
Yeah, that's a deal. Back at you. Thanks so much. And you guys, I hope you will join me weekly as we question, build, and discover. No matter where you are on changing your sales game, my guests and I, we've got you. We understand. We're living what you're living. We're in the trenches too. We really understand. But here's the deal. Darren just gave you several huge, amazing tips, right? And again, follow him and you'll learn from him just by following him on LinkedIn. My strategy is information's a beautiful thing. If you do nothing with it, guys, it's just information in your brain. put it into practice, and we promise you results happen on the back end. Growth happens on the back end. And again, making that sales game, you're upping your game. You can serve bigger, you can do more, and we can share more out in the world. Really, it's about that love, care, and respect. And on that note, I love you all. You've been listening to Changing the Sales Game with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.com. I truly am inspired to have you on this journey of changing your sales game and really changing that word sales in the marketplace from that icky vibe to really that love, care, and respect. I love you all. I hope you have an amazing week. Darren, my friend, thank you for being on. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next time.